All right, today we're talking about a massive shift in the retail world. One of the biggest home goods companies out there is completely overhauling how it works, all thanks to artificial intelligence. And this isn't some small test run. We're talking about a full-scale upgrade that gives us a real sneak peek into the future of shopping for all of us.
Okay, so to really get what's going on here, you have to understand the sheer scale we're dealing with. We're talking about a digital catalog with something like 30 million different products. Just think about that for a second. That is a crazy amount of information to manage and keep accurate.
And that massive scale brings up a pretty huge question, right? For millions upon millions of products, how on earth do you make sure every single detail is perfect, from the exact shade of a color to the precise measurements? Because let's be real, one wrong detail can totally break a customer's trust and lead to a lost sale or, even worse, a costly return.
So, what did this company do? Well, they didn't just dip their toes in the AI water. Nope, they went all in. They embedded artificial intelligence right into the heart of their core systems, making it a foundational part of how they operate.
And they specifically targeted two key areas: the places where things were just getting way too complex to handle the old-fashioned way. First, that giant product catalog we just talked about, and second, their incredibly complex system for supporting tens of thousands of suppliers. Okay, so let's dig into the catalog first. Getting that product info right is absolutely critical for everything, from what you see in search results to the recommendations you get. If it's wrong, customers get confused, and you end up with a ton of expensive returns. And check out this quote from one of the company's directors. It really hits the nail on the head. See, this isn't just some abstract data thing. It's all about helping you, the shopper, make the right call, which builds trust and, you guessed it, directly cuts down on those costly returns. So their first crack at using AI, well, it made sense on paper, but it just didn't work in reality. They were building separate AI models for individual product tags, like color or material, but with 47,000 different tags, there's just no way. That approach was never, ever going to scale. So they went back to the drawing board and built a totally new system. It works in 3 simple stages. First, an AI agent figures out the true meaning of each tag. Then, the system applies that understanding to millions of products all at once. And finally, and this is the really important part, real human experts physically check product samples to make sure the AI got it right. And the results of this new system? They're pretty staggering. Get this. The team can now add new product details 70 times faster than they could just a year ago. That's a mind-boggling leap in efficiency, and it's all powered by one unified AI model. All right, let's switch gears to the second big problem they tackled: supplier support. Think about it. With tens of thousands of suppliers, the number of support tickets and questions they get is just monumental. And the change here is like night and day. Seriously. Before, you had people manually slogging through every single ticket. It was slow, and of course, mistakes happened. But now, an AI agent sorts these requests almost instantly, understanding what's needed and sending it to the right place. And they even gave this AI agent a name: Wilma. So Wilma reads an incoming request, figures out what the supplier actually needs, grabs any missing info from other systems, and zips it over to the exact team that can handle it.
And this quote from the support team really explains why this is such a game changer. Basically, if you mess up that first step of figuring out where a ticket should go, the whole process grinds to a halt. AI is fixing that foundational problem.
Now, they didn't just, flip a switch and turn it all on. They were smart about it. They rolled it out in stages to build trust in the system. It started out in co-pilot mode, where the AI would just suggest things to the human agents. Then, once the AI proved it was getting it right over and over again, they switched it to autopilot for certain kinds of tasks.
Okay, so let's talk numbers. What's the real-world impact of all this? Well, the results are seriously impressive, and we've got the data to prove it.
First up, that product catalog. The system has already fixed a whopping 2.5 million incorrect or missing details on more than 1 million of their top products. That's a direct upgrade to the shopping experience that you and I can actually feel. And what about that supplier support system? Well, Wilma and its AI buddies are now automating 41,000 tickets every single month. That is a huge amount of manual work just gone. In some cases, the automation rate is hitting as high as 70%. Think about that. That means the human experts are freed up to tackle the really tricky problems that actually need a human brain, which ultimately makes the suppliers happier too. Okay, so let's pull back for a second. What does this all really mean for the future of shopping? For all of us? Here's the big takeaway. This isn't just some cool little experiment anymore. What we're witnessing here is a fundamental shift in how huge retail companies are going to operate from now on, moving from slow manual work to AI-powered speed and accuracy.
And this quote from the company's CTO really spells out the end game here. They're building for a future where AI is just part of the experience. It's not an add-on. It's woven into everything, making it way easier for us to find exactly what we want.
And that really brings us to the final question. Now that this technology has proven it works at this insane scale, it's not a question of if this becomes the new normal for retail, it's a question of when. Which makes you wonder, is your favorite store next?